Speaking of moments, you've been, as you mentioned, your career with the Fever. First six, though, were tough, obviously. They weren't as easy. You guys have made the playoffs the last two. What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed the way the team has grown organically?
Kelsey Mitchell has finally spoken, and this time it wasn't the usual safe soundbites or media-friendly cliches. After months of polished interviews and endless speculation from outsiders, the veteran heartbeat of the Indiana Fever delivered what fans had been waiting for: a raw, unfiltered dose of truth. She didn't just respond to a question, she detonated a truth bomb that shook the league and left the WNBA scrambling to decode its impact. Every word was measured, every tone intentional. In that moment, Mitchell proved that true leadership isn't about how loud you are, it's about how firmly you stand. Her message wasn't simple commentary, it was a declaration powerful enough to reshape the conversation around Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and the league itself.
Then you bring in Caitlin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that. And I love the teammate and person in her because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make, what it.
The real question now is this: was Mitchell simply showing admiration? Was it the spark of a budding professional rivalry? Or was it something much larger, a calculated, brutally honest, and refreshingly authentic teammate assessment that raised the bar for honesty in pro sports? That's the debate fueling fans today. But before dissecting her words, let's zoom out to the bigger picture. Has Caitlin Clark not only elevated women's basketball, but also reshaped the global perception of the game? Could we be living through the most pivotal turning point in modern sports history? Is Caitlin truly the needle? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
You've changed the world in so many ways. You've done it with so much grace. And I'm so happy to take the floor with you, to be a part of this experience. I want to tell you to give yourself some grace, kid. You've done a lot of things that not a lot of people can do. And from me to you, I'm always going to be a fan. I'm always going to be in your corner. I'm always going to be in your backcourt.
That's the scale of the conversation Mitchell's words have put front and center. And it's exactly why her voice resonates with such force. Here's the reality: mention the Indiana Fever anywhere, and you already know what's coming next, the Clark question. It's as certain as the sunrise. No matter the topic, defensive schemes, pre-game routines, even the weather, the discussion always circles back to Caitlin. She has become the inescapable center of Indiana basketball's orbit. And this time, it wasn't a bench player fielding it. It was Kelsey Mitchell.
But you've been with Indiana through the thick and thin. You've been with them since, we was talking, we about to go get our rhythm on Indiana. You've been there, you stuck through until now being in semifinals. What does that feel like? And for people watching, girls, boys, if they athletes, not athletes, what does it feel like to stick through something and now see it come into full fold?
And that point carries more weight than most realize. Mitchell isn't just another name on the depth chart, she's the Fever's survivor. For years, she was the lone spark in the darkness, dragging Indiana through seasons so dismal they bordered on unwatchable. This is the same Mitchell who fought through a 5-win season, who endured a revolving door of coaches over nearly a decade, while opponents circled Fever matchups as easy nights, stat-padding opportunities and rest days for their stars. She was the one left to absorb the losses, repeat polite cliches to reporters, and pretend there was progress after yet another 24-point blowout. That wasn't basketball for her. It was a nightly grind, pushing a boulder uphill with no end in sight.
You guys have made the playoffs the last two. What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed the way the team has grown organically?
Oh, man, I think a big shout out to the organization taking time to rebuild. I think our draft picks ended up coming big. Lexi Hall was a big draft pick, and then you get Kaylin, and then you get AB. And so you culminate that together with, my experience and having to, go through a couple things before they got there. I think it was just like a match made in heaven, really, because I was, still at a young age to really, vibe and get to know these players for who they were. And then you bring in Kaylin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that.
So when Mitchell finally spoke about Caitlin Clark, it was never going to be empty praise. This wasn't the usual "she's great, she helps the team" filler line. Mitchell doesn't deal in PR polish, she deals in truth forged by years of carrying a franchise through the league's basement. And what she delivered was raw, authentic, and unflinching. She confirmed what everyone sees but few have dared to say aloud. Caitlin Clark hasn't just altered the Fever, she's reshaped the entire basketball landscape. Mitchell's words landed like a tectonic shift. Clark has changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball itself. That's not casual praise. That's a seismic admission from the one player who had every reason to be resentful. Instead, the Fever's cornerstone, the one who endured irrelevance and hardship, looked straight into the camera and essentially declared, without Caitlin, none of this happens. Not the sellouts, not the primetime slots, not the global spotlight. None of it, You
were an MVP finalist this year with our own Chiney Ogwumike even saying that you had the best season of any guard this year in the league. What has it been like to get that kind of recognition and get your flowers?
Oh, I appreciate it. I've been to a lot throughout the course of my career with Indiana Fever. It's been like my longest, ever. So it's for me, it's a humbling experience to kind of see myself make waves from where it started to where it is now, and just kind of respect the game, lean on the game as far as creating bonds and friendships. And now you get to see us do that now, a couple years later.
What makes Mitchell's statement so powerful is what was missing: any trace of jealousy. There was no bitterness in her tone, no passive-aggressive undertone, no shadow of resentment. Just pure, genuine respect. And yet, she didn't diminish herself in the process. This wasn't surrender. It was balance. With quiet authority, she reminded everyone that before Caitlin Clark's arrival, she was the one carrying Indiana on her back. She was the one grinding through the darkest years, giving the Fever a foundation so Clark would have a platform to stand on when she came. That's an undeniable truth. Without Mitchell, the Fever might have slipped into total irrelevance. While the league overlooked Indiana and opponents treated them as easy nights, Mitchell was the one keeping the franchise's identity alive. She wasn't just keeping the lights on, she was the generator preventing the whole building from shutting down. And now, in 2025, her loyalty is paying off, not only in numbers, but in legacy. Mitchell didn't just recognize Clark's impact, she elevated it while reaffirming her own. That's the brilliance of her message. It wasn't about choosing sides. It was about showing that real leadership doesn't fear competition, it embraces it. That's why her words are still echoing across the league. Not because they were flashy or dramatic, but because they were real. In a league where envy and pettiness too often dominate headlines, whether it's veterans like Aya Wilson throwing shade or Cheryl Swoops lobbing digs, Mitchell flipped the script. She showed that respect and honesty can coexist, that it's possible to acknowledge a generational star like Caitlin Clark while still standing tall in your own legacy. And in doing so, she gave the WNBA the authenticity it's been craving.
Oh man, it's an unbelievable experience. It's a moment that I don't want to, take for granted. I want to cherish it as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I don't want to use this moment to as a moment to not grow. And so hopefully the mental preparation that I've been through and the things I've been through can kind of help me get through these moments. And then just, loving basketball for what it is and just, loving the game and having fun with it.